Picture this scene. You're 36, sitting in your car after another breakup, trying to figure out what went wrong. You gave her everything. Your time, your resources, your emotional support, your complete loyalty. You were the perfect gentleman, the supportive partner, the man who always put her needs first. And yet, she lost interest, pulled away, and eventually left you for someone who seems to treat her worse than you ever did. Sound familiar? You're not alone. Millions of men go through life making the same critical mistakes with women. They only learn the harsh truth when it's already too late to save their relationships, their resources, or their sanity. What if I told you there are fundamental realities of female psychology that most men never grasp until they get burned a few times? What if I told you that the very behaviors you think make you attractive are in fact destroying her attraction to you? And what if I told you that understanding these truths earlier could have saved you years of frustration, heartbreak, and missed opportunities? Today, I'm going to reveal the realities about women that men tend to learn far too late. These aren't the most pleasant truths, but they are based on evolutionary psychology, observable behavioral patterns, and the hard lessons learned by countless men who wish they had understood these principles decades earlier. If you are ready to understand how women actually think and behave so you can protect yourself and make better decisions, listen closely. What you are about to learn might just save you from making costly mistakes that take years to recover from. 1. A woman categorizes you immediately. The first harsh reality is this: women will categorize and utilize you based on the strength you lead with, and they will rarely see you as anything beyond that initial assessment. She is scanning for your primary value proposition, deciding if you are the provider, the entertainer, the emotional support system, the status symbol, or the physical protector. Once she has categorized you, that becomes your permanent role in her mind. For example, if you lead by showcasing your wealth, career success, or ability to pay for expensive dates and gifts, congratulations, you have just become a walking wallet to her. She will see you as a source of financial benefits and lifestyle upgrades, not as a complete person worthy of genuine affection. A woman might enjoy your company and even sleep with you, but her primary interest is what you can do for her financially. The same is true if you lead with emotional availability. If you are always there to listen to her problems, offer a shoulder to cry on, and play the role of the therapist for her dramas, you become her emotional support system. She will use you for validation and comfort, while she pursues the men she is actually romantically desire. There is another common category: men who lead with humor, constantly trying to make her laugh and keep things light and fun, often fall into the entertainment committee category. She enjoys their company for a good time but does not take them seriously as potential partners. So how do you avoid being boxed in? The only way is to lead with authentic masculinity, confidence, self-respect, clear boundaries, and a genuine personality. When you present yourself as a whole person rather than a service provider, she is forced to evaluate you as a total package rather than a utilitarian object. 2. Women despise weakness and will fill a power vacuum. Here is a truth that makes many modern men uncomfortable. If you do not establish and maintain masculine authority in your interactions with women, they will assume the dominant role and lose attraction for you in the process. This is because women are biologically hardwired to be attracted to men who can lead, protect, and make decisions. This isn't about being controlling or abusive. It's about demonstrating a confidence and strength that signals genetic fitness and leadership capabilities. To assess these qualities, women have developed sophisticated weakness detection systems. They can sense fear, neediness, insecurity, and people-pleasing behavior within minutes of meeting you. As soon as they identify these traits, such as a man who is afraid to disagree, constantly seeks approval, or changes his opinions based on her reaction, their attraction begins to automatically fade. When you fail to provide this masculine leadership, women don't just embrace equality, they fill the power vacuum themselves. They start making the decisions, setting the tone of the relationship, and essentially becoming the masculine energy in the dynamic. This role reversal creates a psychological situation where she can no longer respect you and be attracted to you at the same time. You become the subordinate partner, which triggers her biological programming to seek a more dominant partner. At the root of this is an ancient survival program. Evolutionarily, weak men were a liability to the tribe's survival, and women who partnered with them endangered themselves and their offspring. That programming is still running in the subconscious of modern women. Therefore, when she perceives you as weak, her attraction doesn't just lessen, it eventually evolves into contempt. 3. Nice guys finish last. Perhaps one of the most painful truths for men to accept is that nice guys genuinely tend to finish last in the dating market, and there are specific psychological reasons why this happens consistently. First, many women go through different phases in their dating lives. During their peak attraction, years from their late teens to their late 22nd, they often pursue exciting, unpredictable, and emotionally challenging men, craving drama, passion, and emotional roller coasters. The nice guy represents stability, predictability, and emotional safety qualities that do not trigger the excitement young women crave. It is only after she has exhausted herself on this roller coaster and begins to value security over excitement that the nice guy becomes appealing. By then, you are not her first choice. You are her settling choice. Second, the very characteristics that define nice guys' compliance, predictability, people-pleasing, are often the direct opposite of the traits that generate female attraction: challenge, mystery, self-respect. Women say they want nice guys, but their behavior consistently demonstrates attraction to men who embody the opposite traits. Finally, nice guys often struggle with setting boundaries and asserting themselves, but attraction requires respect, and respect requires strength. When you are unwilling to risk disapproval by standing up for yourself, you signal that her opinion is more important than your own self-respect. This creates a dynamic where she cannot look up to you, which is crucial for female attraction. Before we continue exploring these crucial insights into female psychology, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to Psycheria. Let's continue. 4. Male vulnerability is often perceived as weakness. One of the most shocking realizations for many men is this: most women struggle to empathize with male emotional experiences and often interpret male vulnerability as weakness, not humanity. From childhood, both men and women are programmed with different expectations for emotional expression. Men are told to suck it up, don't cry, and be strong. While this conditioning can be detrimental to men's emotional health, it also sets an expectation in women for how men should behave. When women see men express vulnerability, sadness, fear, or emotional neediness, it often triggers discomfort in them, not compassion. They have been conditioned to see men as emotional rocks, and when that rock cracks, they lose faith in its stability. Furthermore, women often expect men to provide emotional support for them without reciprocating when the man needs it. She may expect you to listen to her problems, validate her feelings, and comfort her through hard times. But when you require that same support, she may feel uncomfortable or even resentful. Perhaps most importantly, female emotional support often comes at a cost to attraction. When you show vulnerability to the woman you are dating or married to, she may lose respect and attraction for you, even if she doesn't consciously realize it, creating a cruel paradox where the emotional intimacy you crave actually damages your relationship. 5. Women are attracted to emotional unavailability. Here is a psychological truth that baffles and frustrates many men. Women are consistently more attracted to emotionally unavailable men than they are to men who are openly available and interested. This is largely due to the psychology of scarcity. Human psychology places a higher value on things that are rare, difficult to obtain, or in limited supply. When you are readily available, always text back immediately, and are always free for a date, You become abundant rather than scarce. Emotionally unavailable men, in contrast, create an artificial scarcity. They don't reply immediately, they aren't always available, and they don't seem desperate for her attention. This scarcity automatically makes them seem more valuable and desirable. Furthermore, many women become addicted to the challenge itself, the act of trying to win over such men. The uncertainty, the chase, the small victories when he does show interest, all of this creates dopamine hits that can become psychologically addictive. Available men simply don't provide this challenge. There is no mystery, no chase, and no uncertainty. To top it all off, there is a validation hierarchy. Gaining attention from an emotionally unavailable man feels like a much greater accomplishment than gaining attention from an available one. It's the difference between receiving a consolation prize and winning the championship. The difficulty of the achievement directly impacts how valuable it feels. 6. Women will constantly test you. One of the most exhausting aspects of dealing with women is the reality that women will constantly test men throughout a relationship to gauge various aspects of their character, compatibility, and value. These tests can take many forms. Sometimes, they are compatibility tests to determine your suitability for a long-term relationship, such as testing how you handle stress, conflict, or unexpected challenges. Other times, they are boundary tests to see what they can get away with. This might involve pushing against your stated preferences, checking if you will enforce your own rules, or testing if you will compromise your standards to keep her happy. Men who fail these boundary tests immediately lose respect. Additionally, many tests are designed to gauge your confidence levels. She might disagree with you to see if you'll change your mind, criticize something you like to see if you'll defend it, or create drama to see how you handle the pressure. It's important to understand that the correct response to most of these tests is calm confidence. Don't take the bait, don't become emotional, and don't drastically alter your behavior in response to her testing. 7. The main thing women want is security. For all the talk of female independence and empowerment, here is an immutable truth. The primary thing all women want from men is security across various domains of life. This starts with financial security. Even women with their own careers and income want to know that their man can provide financial stability. It's less about the money itself and more about competence, reliability, and the ability to handle life's financial challenges. Equally important is emotional security. Women want emotional stability and dependability from their partners. They want to know you won't abandon them in tough times, and that you will provide a consistent source of support and presence. Added to this is a primal, instinctual physical security. Despite living in relatively safe modern societies, women still have a desire to feel protected. Finally, women also want social security, knowing that you can navigate social situations competently and that you have status and respect within your community. And here is the harsh part, the so-called security paradox. Women will often stay with men they do not love if those men provide exceptional security. Conversely, they will leave men they claim to love if those men cannot provide adequate security. Security trumps love in female decision-making more often than most men realize. 8. A woman's self-esteem is tied to her attractiveness. One of the realities that is most difficult for men to accept is that a woman's sense of self-worth is primarily tied to her physical attractiveness. This creates both opportunities and vulnerabilities in your interactions with her. The root of this lies in early programming. From a very young age, girls receive constant messaging that their primary value is in their appearance, starting with compliments like, "What a pretty dress," or "beautiful hair." By adulthood, most women have internalized the belief that their value is directly correlated with their desirability. This, in turn, creates a deep reliance on external validation of their attractiveness. Women need regular confirmation that they are still beautiful. Understanding this dependency, by the way, gives you significant power in the relationship. This same dependency also explains the anxiety of aging. As women get older and their physical attractiveness naturally declines, many experience significant stress over their diminishing value. This deep-seated fear is what drives many of the behaviors men often find confusing, be it an obsession with youth, cosmetic procedures, or constant attention-seeking behaviors. 9. Attention is the primary currency for women. Here is a truth that explains much of modern female behavior. Attention is the primary currency in the psychological economy of women, and they structure much of their lives around acquiring it. Women exist in a constant marketplace of attention and validation, competing for male attention and social approval, a dynamic that social media has only amplified. Because of this, the female ego is often more fragile than a man's ego, as it is built on external validation, what others think of their attractiveness, rather than internal accomplishments. This fragility means that depriving women of attention has a far more potent effect than most men realize. The hunt for attention itself occurs on a wide spectrum, from subtle to overt. Some will post provocative photos on social media, while others will manufacture drama or crises, all serving the same core function, generating attention. 10. Female intimate desire does not match male desire long-term. The final harsh truth men often discover too late is that most women cannot and will not match your desire for intimacy long-term, and expecting them to will lead to frustration and resentment. Much of this is due to biological programming. Women evolve different reproductive strategies than men, as they face significant risks from physical intimacy, namely pregnancy, and the massive investment required to raise offspring. This evolutionary history has created different biological drives. This fundamental biological asymmetry means that female desire is inherently more selective and resource-dependent. Furthermore, female libido fluctuates with hormonal cycles in a way that male libido does not. Moreover, most women require emotional connection and security to maintain interest in intimacy long-term. If the relationship lacks emotional intimacy, her physical desire will diminish regardless of her affection for you. For many men, this is a difficult concept to grasp, as their own desire can often operate independently of the relationship's emotional climate. Finally, there is the honeymoon phase reality. In the early stages of a relationship, many women do match or exceed a man's intimate desire. However, this is temporary and driven by novelty, excitement, and brain chemistry. Once the relationship becomes familiar and comfortable, her desire typically settles to its natural baseline, which is generally lower than yours. A failure to anticipate this inevitable shift is one of the primary sources of long-term relationship conflict, leaving men feeling rejected and women feeling pressured. How to use this knowledge? Understanding these realities presents a challenge. How do you integrate this knowledge without becoming cynical or manipulative? The answer lies in the advantage of awareness. Knowing these patterns allows you to make better decisions and avoid common pitfalls. For example, you can recognize tests instead of failing them, and understand behaviors instead of personalizing them. The key lies in ethical application. This knowledge should be used to build healthier relationships, not to manipulate or exploit women. Understanding female psychology allows you to meet their actual needs, not what you think their needs should be. It also allows for strategic positioning. You can use this understanding to position yourself as the type of man women are naturally drawn to, rather than the type of man you think they should want. Most importantly, understanding these realities protects you from making costly mistakes. It provides resource protection, as knowing how women evaluate men helps you avoid being used solely for your finances. It provides emotional protection. Understanding the empathy gap helps you maintain proper boundaries around emotional vulnerability. It provides time protection, as recognizing testing patterns helps you invest your time more effectively. And finally, it provides heart protection, helping to shield your heart from unnecessary pain by setting appropriate expectations. The key is to apply this knowledge constructively, establish and maintain healthy boundaries, adjust your expectations to align with reality rather than fantasy, and focus on self-improvement, developing the traits that genuinely attract women. Here is the ultimate truth about these harsh realities. Understanding them early in life can save you years of frustration, wasted resources, and emotional pain. The choice is yours. You can continue to operate based on romantic fantasies and social programming, or you can accept these uncomfortable truths and use them to create better outcomes in your relationships. If this video was eye-opening about patterns you've experienced in your own relationships, hit that like button and subscribe to Psycheria for more content that exposes the hidden psychology of female behavior. Share this with other men who need to understand these realities before they learn them the hard way. Until next time, remember that knowledge is power, but only when you have the courage to accept uncomfortable truths and act on them. Understanding these realities doesn't make you a cynic, it makes you informed. And informed men make better decisions.